Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about something that I actually really care about when it comes to Jurassic World Dominion. Today I wanted to go over my thoughts and hopes for how Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler will be reintroduced and executed in the final chapter of the Jurassic World trilogy. So Jurassic World Dominion is set to bring back all of the characters that we've grown to know and love over the last 6 films. Owen Grady, Claire Dearing, Ian Malcolm, Dr. Henry Wu, and even Lewis Dodson are all confirmed to be making appearances in this movie. However, the two characters that I actually have the most interest in returning happen to be Dr. Grant and Dr. Sattler, and I think I'm not alone in wanting to see them both come back in the next film. That being said, when it comes to Alan and Ellie's scenes in Jurassic World Dominion, one thing that probably interests me the most about the film is just how these two are going to be reintroduced to the audience. Because unlike nearly all of the previously mentioned characters, save Dodson, these are the two people that we not only haven't seen in the previous 2 Jurassic World movies, we haven't even heard anything from them for the last 20 years. This has raised a number of questions for me about Jurassic World Dominion's plot, as well as how that plot will actually incorporate Grant and Sattler back into the franchise. And I think in order for Dominion to do that properly, there should be a few things that they understand really needs to be taken into consideration. First and foremost, I'm actually going to address something from a scripting and in-universe point of view that I don't think a lot of people have really thought about just yet. With Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler returning to the Jurassic Park universe, one thing that I think needs to be explained pretty openly and concisely is why they're coming back at all. And the reason I say that is because outside of the first movie, Alan and Ellie haven't really had a purpose to be in a Jurassic Park film specifically. And that's due to the fact that what movies the filmmakers have chosen to make after 1993 haven't really been about them, or their stories if I were to put it more accurately. If we go off of what we all saw in Jurassic Park 3, for example, the character of Alan Grant isn't exactly integral to the plot of that film at all, outside of the fact that he'd been to the island before in the past. In fact, the film even makes a joke about this very story element since Grant actually hadn't been on Isla Sorna before, and the Kirbys unintentionally screwed up when it came to kidnapping a proper guide. As for Ellie's role in the film, Laura Dern's character was written in as something of a lifeline that Grant could call whenever he needed help, which is exactly what the movie used her for as soon as our protagonist got the satellite phone. Other than that, Dr. Sattler wasn't really in Jurassic Park 3, and they didn't really give her a story that I think utilized her best qualities in a satisfying way. Now, this same critique can also be applied admittedly to Ian Malcolm's character in The Lost World, who originally went to Site B in order to save his girlfriend, but then after he met back up with her, the film didn't really elaborate on that plotline any further, and it just kind of evolved into a survival story with no real arc to give to Jeff Goldblum's role. That's not to say that The Lost World didn't originally plan to give Malcolm an arc though, since the screenplay for that movie and even the deleted scenes that Spielberg shot clearly outline an evolution in his character that we just sadly didn't get to see. If you don't know what I'm talking about, The Lost World's focus on dinosaurs protecting their young was actually going to run parallel to the growth Ian would undergo in the second film, where he became a loving father who actually chose to start a family with Sarah Harding and Kelly once he figured out it was what was best for his daughter. However, in the final cut of the movie, all of those scenes were just left on the cutting room floor, and without them, we don't really get any sort of through line for Malcolm at all. And since the only reason he was tied to that film's plot happened to be because he loved his girlfriend, once the movie decided to stop showing us more of that, well, the end result was just Malcolm being there because he chose not to stay home, which isn't as compelling as actually following through with the whole Ian, Sarah, Kelly family unit arc that they were supposed to undergo. Now, the reason I don't really think Ian Malcolm is going to have any problems being incorporated into Jurassic World Dominion is because Fallen Kingdom kind of already reintroduced him in a way that both makes sense for his character and also gives him a solid reason to show up in this trilogy. Malcolm was always against the ideas of playing God and cloning dinosaurs in the first 2 films, so naturally, he'd rally against trying to save them in Part 5. When it comes to Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler though, I really hope that Jurassic World Dominion offers us a really solid reason for these characters returning in the next movie. Owen Grady and Claire Dearing obviously don't have this problem because we've seen why they're integral to the plot of dinosaurs getting out all over the world from the last 2 films. Claire personally feels a responsibility to making sure that these animals aren't treated like numbers on a spreadsheet, and Owen has a direct link to one of the dinosaurs that expands upon the whole relationship mankind has with these animals. Grant and Sattler also deserve their own special incorporations into the new plot, in my opinion. The original Jurassic Park was a movie that really was Grant's own personal story. To a lesser degree, it had to do with Hammond, but really the heart of Jurassic Park was Alan learning to love children. Ellie Sattler, of course, helps John understand that it's people who are more important than ambitious dreams, and she also acts as something of a static motivation for Grant to evolve as well. If Grant didn't change as a character in that movie, Ellie Sattler's wish of, quote, wanting to have kids wouldn't exactly be something her boyfriend could offer. And Grant should probably pay attention to Ellie wanting children, since Ian Malcolm, a man who already has 3 of them, is doing his best to try and impress Dr. Sattler in order to woo her away from Grant. Jurassic Park incorporated all 3 of these characters into its plot in a very specific and meticulous way that made for a pretty satisfying story. Malcolm I have faith in for Dominion, since Fallen Kingdom already did the legwork to show that they're still representing that character in the same way he was always meant to be treated. And hopefully, Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler will also be reintroduced just as effectively when Dominion finally hits theaters. I guess what I'm trying to say is Dominion should really give us a solid explanation as to why we're seeing them return after not hearing from them in 2 decades. How are they tied to the story of dinosaurs being released all over the mainland? Do they have any ties to Fallen Kingdom's Dinosaur Protection Group? Has their relationship with Ian Malcolm evolved since we last saw it in Jurassic Park? Do they have anything to do with Biosyn or Lewis Dodson now that he's been thrown into the mix? And what specifically is their reason for being reincorporated into the last film of the Jurassic World trilogy? Anyone's guess is as good as mine, and I'm sure every fan out there has thought of a number of different ideas on how they factor into Jurassic World 3's plot. And since JP3 kind of didn't really need those specific characters for its simple island rescue story, I'm hoping that Dominion goes all out and ties both Sam Neill and Laura Dern's respective characters into the plot of JP6 in a meaningful and exciting new way. Anyways guys, those are all just my own thoughts and opinions on the subject matter. What do all of you think? What are your hopes and goals for Jurassic World Dominion when it comes to reintroducing and reincorporating Alan and Ellie into the new plot? How would you like to see them meet Owen and Claire, and how do you think they're going to be tied into Jurassic World Dominion's story? Whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it seriously means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video, and hope that you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.